Hello again, everyone. Josh here, and I'm back with a marginally less clunky version of my Fringe scheduling spreadsheet for 2024. I made a couple small improvements. I have some ideas for others, but the Fringe starts tomorrow as of this recording, so I need to be finished. Um, what this amounts to here is I'll do a quick run through once again, just to show you how it works, and then I'll maybe go into some more details if for the keeners who want to stick around at the end. But as with last year, I guess this is an Excel spreadsheet with some macros in it, so you will need to use a PC, I guess, or a Mac with Excel on it that supports macros and enable macros in the file. There is nothing malicious in there. It's basically just there to help you walk between venues. And I haven't found a way to do that with spreadsheet logic versus macros. So who cares about all that? I just want to go to the Fringe. So what's helpful is you need to know kind of what the first show on a given day you're going to watch. The official schedule I've linked here. The Fringe does provide a PDF of the schedule you might recognize. It just always is super intuitive to use, but it's your starting point. So, for example, we know on Thursday the 15th the shows all start around 8 o'clock. Got a whole bunch starting there, and we see we've got say Accidental Beach starting at 8 o'clock over near the Grindstone area. Now, going back to the sheet, you can go up in here is where you choose your first show name. This drop down just has everything in alphabetical. And I don't remember if you could do this before or not, but you can kind of search if you type in pieces of a title. It sort of works. So you'll hit that. And what will happen here is it'll say invalid show time because this populates with all the show times for that show, but doesn't do it until you like click on it the first time. Thanks, Microsoft. But nonetheless, okay, so we have 15th of August, 8 o'clock. That's the very first showing starting on Thursday. That's the first show we want to go see. The information is populated here. Now, if you push this Start New Schedule Builder, it will mostly go through and calculate all the shows that you could physically reach from that point at the end of that show. So the show starts at 8, it's over at 9. Where else can I go if I want to watch some more shows? And obviously, Thursday's only a couple hours. So there's only X number of shows on that day. So, this list here is fairly short because we're pretty late in the day. Now, next show I'd want to choose, you can just go through this list. If you recognize titles, or there used to be a PDF of all the show descriptions, but you'll find that in the guidebook, or you can also use the tickets website to kind of vet shows you like using this system in here, which you can filter and blah blah blah. But I find it's also kind of not 100% intuitive, but maybe your luck is better. But nonetheless, okay, I want to pick another show. Well, after that I can look through here in the times is telling you this first column how far it is for you to walk to the next venue, and this one is how much kind of extra time you would have, and then here's sort of the Fringe recommended 30-minute waiting time before you go to your next, supposed to wait in line. Now the spreadsheet will cheat a little bit and let you cut things a bit closer. Obviously the Fringe doesn't recommend that, but I've done it before, and it's usually fine. You just need to kind of book it to wherever you're going, and in some cases, like if you catch an Uber or grab a scooter or have a bike, you can maybe reduce these times and just sort of be cognizant of that. So I'm already getting long-winded here, so let's be quick. Nonetheless, say, okay, I want to watch Forest of Truth, great show. Saw it last year. That's the next one I want to add to my list. So then I will select here using this radio button and go add next show to schedule builder. And you see now it's put Forest of Truth up here as kind of my current show, my current location. And now it's showing you the shows you can reach from the end of that one. And it's 10:45 on the Thursday night. So again, not many shows left, but you could probably still squeeze one more in. So maybe we'll do the 11 o'clock number. Also a really good show. I'll add that to my schedule builder. Now you see it's blank because it's after midnight and there are no more shows starting on August 15th. So where did this all go? Well, if you go here to the schedule builder tab, you see now it's kind of output, sort of our stepping through the day through the shows out here on this list, and basically telling you where time, where you got to go, what the show's called, and then the intermission is how far to travel to the next place if you walk, how long you got to have a beer, and how long you're in line for the next show. And this is formatted so you could say print it and do what you got to do as you're planning your day. It's possible to jam quite a few shows throughout the day if you're so inclined. So that's the short version of how this works. Thanks for watching, I guess. You can, I'll go through some more details here in the next little bit, but you don't need to keep watching from here if you got the idea. There's a link to download this in the description. So now that all the keeners are just left, if we look at the indoor show schedule and say let's go to the Saturday the 17th because the weekends have lots of shows. So say we're going to start right at the beginning of the day. We've got Buttons and Pockets at venue 10 to 11 a.m. on the Saturday. So we'll go back in here again. I want buttons. I'll type in butt. It'll do some stuff. I now have to choose Saturday at 11. Oh no, well, again, this format's this weird because it's mean. So there we go. Good to know what date you're on. Oh, what's going on here? Fixed. Anyways, we'll start a new schedule builder. And you see, so this is like 11 a.m. So there are obviously many paths you can take here in the multiverse if you're so inclined. Now, I would be careful. Sometimes when you go like more than 4 or 5 hours in the future, it will like just not work. But that's not really what this is for. This is more meant for a kind of jamming the shows back to back. So say if I, for example, I picked one at like 6:30 p.m. and do this, it may or may not work. So didn't like that very much. So now it's just gonna be angry at you here. It did something, but it didn't do it right. So I'm gonna reverse there. I'll go back to Buttons and Pockets and go with the 11 a.m. time slot and start over again. So this is the first show of the day. So if you were really trying to pack the shows in, you can basically choose stuff close to the top and kind of just keep going until you work your way through the day. So, I'm sitting out at the Old Strathcona Public Library. Maybe I want to go to a show over at the Rapid Fire Exchange. Pop that in there. And then, I don't know, we'll just keep kind of picking shows. Well, we'll go over to Gordon's Big Bald Head, the sort of classic Fringe stalwart, and just kind of keep picking. You can go through and pick your shows, kind of figure out, this at least will give you a list of stuff that's like coming up that you can reach. You kind of start with I usually start with a show I want to watch and then go, okay, what's after that? And sort of knowing some names, looking at the guide, knowing where you want to go, and kind of help you fill the spaces in between as you see fit. Here, I'm just kind of going to be a bit willy-nilly to just sort of show how this all works. Going like that. You see we're getting later in the day here. So, every time it kind of refreshes. We're at like 10 o'clock. And I managed to do it. So I'll hit the late night cabaret as my last show of the day. And then if I go in here, you see I've got 7 shows over the course of the day. I believe like you can jam in 8 or 9 in a day if you want to be, you want to Netflix the Fringe, which, they need to sell the tickets and make the cash. So I would recommend you do that. But, that's kind of how this is meant to work is, there's no way to go back in time. If you kind of make a mistake or want to change your mind, you sort of have to start over from, I can only really go forward in time. But conveniently, if you kind of you can set up different scenarios if you want. You could print off this page or take a screenshot of it or whatever and go, here's what I had, and go back and go in here and kind of do different runs until you find the one you want if you really want to optimize your Fringe experience. One last thing that is somewhat helpful. I'll go back to our Buttons and Pockets on Saturday at 11 a.m. is that there is kind of like I've enabled the filtering on some of these where you can sort of search by next show a bit more specifically if you want. It's not perfect, but say I wanted to hit Goddess Drag Queen. Okay, it doesn't start till 9 o'clock, so I have a lot of waiting time between this show and that one at the time. But then you can just clear this filter and go that way. You can also filter by the venue if you want. These are enabled as well. I probably don't use them because they're just there for fun. It would really have felt that having this next show name was sometimes helpful if you were trying to target a show that's coming up. But by the same token, you can just scroll through the list and see what is happening here. And it's intended to match obviously the official Fringe schedule, I got the data from them about a week ago to put this together, and it'll just help you to watch as many shows as you want to watch. Yeah, the downfall of it being that it needs to be on Excel on a PC, but I'm still working on that with time. Obviously, you know, if a show is sold out or something, it's not going to be reflected in here. So you know need to go buy the tickets and make sure it's all going to work. Make sure everything makes sense. Because this is a tool to help you. But I guess if you paint yourself into a corner with it, sorry, I'm just some random guy on the internet. I can't help you. But nonetheless, thanks for hanging out for almost 11 minutes to talk about a spreadsheet. You truly are a trooper, and we'll probably see you at the beer tent. Thanks.